Good afternoon. I want to welcome you to today's performance of the Warren County Music Club. It's always a pleasure to have a nice turnout, and I appreciate that you came for this afternoon. One of the things that traditionally the Warren County Music Club always did before a performance was that we sang what is known as the Federation hymn. And I've printed the first verse on your program sheet, and Cynthia Gray is going to accompany us, and so we're going to, in honor of our 40 years, we're going to sing just the first verse of the Federation hymn. Thank you very much, and I know you're going to enjoy this afternoon's program. It's a little unusual to have an afternoon program, also a little unusual to have a trio of a bassoon, a flute, and the piano. And I want to thank the trio for coming and for their many hours of practice before they even got here. And also I want to go ahead at this time and thank Barbara Crouse for putting this program together. And also after their musical program, she's going to share a little bit of the history of the Warren County Music Club. And then you're going to be invited to peruse all of the scrapbooks and picture albums that she brought with her that are out on the counter there. So thank you again for coming. I want to thank Kevin for being our sound guy this afternoon, and certainly want to thank my committee for all the work that they do. And so at this time, I'm going to turn this over for your enjoyment to the Upbeat Trio.
Glad to be here today, and we're glad you're here today too. First, I would like to introduce my friends. The bassoonist over there in the gray is Ann Kershner. And then Sue Bryan is our flautist. And I'm Barbara Crouse. I haven't gone away yet. I'm still here. I'm doing the piano. So we hope you enjoy it. I do want to make one comment that when we sang the Federation hymn a minute ago, back in 1984, the Federation hymn didn't have those words. The words were written in 1925, and we used a different set of words, but now it's been updated in the past, 10 years maybe or something. So we have both old and new here today. So, without any more discussion here, we're going to begin our first song. And I wanted to tell you, it's written by a man from Cincinnati. His name is Rick Sowash. And he wrote this suite, a big long suite called Seasonal Breezes for flute, cello, and piano. And he did that in the 1970s. Well, as it turned out, later on, he revised some things in 2013. And part 4 is called Winter Breezes, And then what we are actually going to play is called On a Night of Snow. So, this is still kind of winter outside, so just picture a snowy evening as we play. We'll see if we can make it sound cold. This is my page turner. It's supposed to go off. There we go. Okay.
Okay, let's
So we
start.
start 79.
Why don't we start at 93 again?
93, I haven't got to 93, 70.
Wait,
Wait, we haven't got to 73.
I think we turned 2 pages at once here.
Oh,
That's-
Oh, is that what
Okay.
Sorry about that. We are usually perfect.
Can we go to 79 then?
Yeah, 79 would be a
Yeah.
good place, Barb.
79.
79.
Okay, let's do it. Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Well, if that didn't make you cold, I don't know. Just forget that one, okay? All right, but that was, we have discovered Rick Sowash, and his music is unusual, and so some of the pieces we really like, and some of them we don't, but we really like this one. So, sorry we messed it up for Rick, but we won't tell him, okay? All righty, well, Mozart is next, so I think that's going to be a little more melodic for you. I hope that you enjoy it. It's the third movement of the trio, 548, and it takes about 6 minutes.
Hope we turn extra pages, we can play it.
Sometimes your books won't stay open, so I have these big things here. See this big paper clip? Isn't that awesome? But at least your music will stay open when you play it. Okay. Well, the next one is totally different, okay? As if the first one wasn't already. In 1941, there was a composer named Adrienne Albert, and she was born in 1941. And years later, in 2011, when she was visiting in Italy, she was inspired to compose this next piece. Well, guess what inspired her? It was the sounds of sirens trying to get through the dense traffic at rush hour. Now, you know, we have different ways we're inspired, and that was hers. But we're not going to play the whole thing, because it's just enough, you know. You can only take so many car horns. And so we're going to play part of the Doppler effect by Adrienne Albert. I was also going to tell you that this was originally written for harp rather than piano. So I did it with the harp a few times with our trio, but it was kind of hard, so I just learned one hand. And then some of you remember Janet Ball, who lived in Nightingale Court for a while, and she came over and she played the left hand while I did the right hand on the harp. And that sounded pretty neat. We were kind of called the quartet by that time and not a trio. But then she moved away, and so now we're back to being a trio, and it's a lot easier to play it on the piano anyway. Oh, dear. All kinds of music, right? But could you hear car horns? Did you think you were in New York City or someplace, maybe? Okay. Music is often about using our imaginations anyway, right? Okay, let's do something out of the 1940s. I think that would be a little more melodic. Actually, the poem is from the 40s, but the music itself was from 2002. If you look on the back of your program notes, you will see that there are words there. It's called Loveliness Is You. And this was really meant to be sung, but I don't want you to sing, okay? But just follow along and maybe you can kind of figure out, because the melody is rather easy to follow, and maybe you can just see what happens there. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about this. My dad's name was Chet Kramer, and he wrote a lot of poetry, and he was a writer, and, you know, he could do anything. Anyway, he wrote this little poem that you see in front of you for my mother. Her name was Martha, and he wrote it right before he was shipped overseas to participate in all the things that went on over there. He was in the Battle of the Bulge. But anyway, I never knew until however many years later that he always wanted to have this set to music. And so Mom told me that she had lived up here for a while. She was in Dogwood Court. And one day she just out of the blue, she said, "Oh, I just remember this poem, and Daddy always wished it was set to music. Do you think you could do that?" And I said, "Oh, I really want to do that." So I did it. My inspiration for the melody came immediately, and it just took like 2 work days. And it was complete and in final form to be presented to Mom on Veterans Day in 2002. So that's our sweet story in our family. So I hope that you enjoy my dad's words and my music. Loveliness is you.
Barb, tell them the lyrics start when the bassoon comes in.
I'm sorry?
You have the intro, and then the lyrics start when the bassoon comes in. When I start playing, the actual words start.
Oh, okay.
She thought maybe if you told them.
There,
You don't have to sing it, but it's easier to follow along.
actually, there are 2 measures, introduction, and then the words start right after that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. So we'll have 2 measures, and when you hear the first 2 measures, they're just simple notes, but kind of think of kind of a drum and a little bit of what is it with the cymbals, a swish, not a swish, I can't think of the term.
Yeah.
But anyway, just that gentle sound, kind of a dance band sound. Thank you. I always get a little choked up every time we play that. Is there anybody in here who remembers my parents, Martha and Chet Kramer? They lived here, but it was back in the night. Oh, one lady, Jenny. Oh, yes, Jenny remembers them for sure. And as far as music club things go, Jenny is probably about the only one present here who remembers when we started the music clubs too. So it's good to keep these things in front of us sometimes. Okay, let's see what we're doing next. Next we're doing Beethoven. And I think it says in your program that this would be a theme and variations. So what you do is listen for the first theme, and then you'll have 7 variations, and then at the end, it kind of brings the theme back again. Now, I don't want you to clap after every variation, okay? Don't do that. But maybe you can kind of keep that in mind as far as where the divisions are, and when we're all done, I'll ask how many people got 9 sections, okay? We do not have an encore, okay? But anyway, how many of you could get the different sections? Did anybody come out to 9? Oh, good. Hey, you're great. That's wonderful. It's nice to have some knowledgeable audiences here, right? Okay. That's it for our musical portion. Now, I do want to say a few words about some of the history of our Warren County Music Club. Now, I need to get my notes here. I have too much paper up here. Okay, 40 years. That's a long time for an organization to be continuing. Although music clubs, I guess it was the National Federation of Music Clubs started way back in who knows where in the 1800s. I've looked that up, but I don't remember what it was. But anyway, as far as this local club goes, we've just had so many wonderful musicians coming here through the years, all sizes and shapes, all ages and stages. It's just been wonderful. I do want to tell you a little bit first about the very beginnings. Let's see. Okay, January 26th, 1984, Ginny Longmire and I both went to a meeting at a lady's house in Lebanon. And the lady's name was Evelyn Hatfield, and she would soon be the president of the newly formed Warren County Music Club. Well, Ginny volunteered her husband Howard to be the treasurer, and I guess Howard agreed because he did that for many years. And then there was a very exuberant resident who lived here, and her name was Vera Turner. Vera and Evelyn got the ball rolling to get things started. We needed to get organized first, and then we also wanted to be federated by the state of Ohio and the National Federation of Music Clubs. And so they worked really hard those first few months. There is a little summary that you can read on your own down at the bottom of today's program, and I don't know who wrote that, but I liked it because it just summed it all up in just a couple of sentences. But then there was my garage, and it has 40 years worth of Warren County Music Club achievement record books, as well as the little booklets that we used to have each season, each year, from September through May or June, generally. And all that stuff, well, not all of it, some of that stuff is in the very back of the room, and it's on display, and you're welcome to look through it. I was not going to carry 40 years worth of achievement booklets up here, I'm sorry. But I did get some that have some interesting pictures. I didn't have time to really make it really neat, so if you pick up an achievement book and you want to look through it, I have some kind of scrappy looking bookmarkers there, and you're welcome to look at anything that is available there. Take your time. You'll see lots of odds and ends. I think as far as the actual beginnings of the music club go, the thing that really was hard for me as secretary and historian was to meet all the deadlines. Because back in the 80s, back in the 1980s, along with all the deadlines, we had just the typewriters and telephones and our longhand communication. We didn't have email. We hadn't heard of email at that point in time. And so we had to write up all these monthly and annual reports, and they went to who knows who, where, they just had to be turned in by certain dates. That was really a lot of stress. Finally, I just kind of burned out after doing all these reports for quite a few years, and I wrote a nice letter to somebody who was in charge, and I said, Otterbein is such a wonderful place. We are very unique because we have lots of volunteers. We have lots of musical things for lots of people, and we just can't put it all in a report because we do more than most of the clubs did. And so after sending that to her and kind of waiting to see what the response would be, I got a lovely note from one of the ladies who was one of the powers that be ladies. And she just said, "Oh, that's so wonderful. We're just so proud of Otterbein. We love Otterbein. You don't have to send any more reports." So I'm thinking, yes, this is good. Okay, well, a lot of that stuff is back on the counter there, and you can leaf through that. There were such strict requirements for all the annual booklets that were passed out to everybody, and inside those booklets, there was, there was a collect that we always prayed and sang together. There was a Federation hymn, which is what we did earlier, although we did the updated version. There was an official invocation, and there was an official benediction. And we did a lot of singing. We sang all this stuff at every meeting, and we had a pledge to the goodness of music, you know, all that, whatever. And it was a nice experience. I think maybe that's enough. I don't need to tell you every little thing we did for 40 years, but I do want to tell you, highlight a couple of the special programs. In those big blue achievement books back in the back, you will see some things about county choir festivals. I headed those up for, I think it was 7 years. And then one time here within our own little local group here at Otterbein, well, I should say we met here at Otterbein because this is where we had the most space. And there were some people from the town of Lebanon who came to our meetings also. So it was Warren County. Anyone was welcome to come. We presented some little operas. And we did a comic opera called Grasshopper. Ginny probably might remember that, I don't know. And then Ginny's brother-in-law, Sam, wrote a little opera called Red Riding Hood. We presented that, and my husband was the big bad wolf. He did a good job on that. He sounded very, very convincing. But now, the one that was kind of the biggest challenge was an opera written by a man who lived in Mansfield. And he wrote an opera about the prophet Hosea. And he had a lot of his friends who could sing came along with him, and then we had the women's chorus here. And I think we had a men's chorus participate too. And we did all these songs that he had written, and they weren't, I had to rearrange a lot of them, frankly, but it worked very well. And we gave this opera. You'll see a picture back there somewhere of Randy with his big beard. He looked very much like Hosea might have looked, kind of scraggly looking. But it was nice. We had a good time. And then we did Renaissance feasts for many years too, and that was basically an Epiphany celebration. We had lots of good food, lots of good music, and lots of entertainment. In the recent years, should I mention some of the belly dancer was one of the things that was an entertainment. Our pastor's wife was a belly dancer. But anyhow, it was all done in good fun, and it was nice. We did many years of the Renaissance feast, and the whole community entered in here by either helping to serve the food or prepare the food or make costumes. It was really awesome, but we just got burned out. We did that for I don't know how many years, but it was a wonderful event. And I could go on, and I won't. I'm going to stop right there. We're glad you came today, and if you want to, as you're looking at refreshments or books or whatever, just relax and rifle through things, and it's yours for the looking. Thank you again for coming.
We're so glad that you came this afternoon, and as Barbara said, we invite you to look through the books and to enjoy the refreshments for our 40th anniversary celebration. Looking ahead, Next month in March, we will have our chorus concert under the direction of Cynthia Gray. That'll be the women's chorus, the men's chorus, and the treble-airs. In April, the final concert for the Warren County Music Club will be an organ piano duet, and I think you'll enjoy that. It's from a local church organist and his wife. And then in May, I want you just to pay close attention to the echoes and to the other publicity places that we have. The good news is that this whole chapel area is going to be renovated, and that's going to be starting fairly soon, and it probably will interfere with some of the scheduling of some of the May concerts. So just stay tuned and come when you can, where you can. We don't know where they're going to be or when, but stick with us and we'll make sure that you enjoy some more music for the rest of the year. Thank you again for coming. Thank you to Kevin, and thank you to the dietary people who've prepared the refreshments, and especially our thanks to Barbara Crouse for her work on the anniversary and this lovely trio. Let's thank them again. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.